Okay, I haven't uploaded the recent videos I recorded, so I'm gonna have to make this one relatively brief, so I can get the ball rolling with that. I came across a video from Hyde Park. I don't know who recorded it, but it's troubling. It shows a bunch of the hooligans from yesterday, basically just throwing their weight around. So there were some people sitting down to a picnic. It looked in the footage to be three women and the guy friends, just sitting down, enjoying themselves. This bunch of hooligans, you know, basically come over, start threatening these people, and I don't think there was any actual physical assaults, but just basically being thugs. Um, and just reiterated basically why I hate such people. I'm not monetizing this video because I'm going to let rip. Okay? And the thing with monetizing is you have to watch your language and all that sort of thing. But I'm going to let rip. I really, my whole life I've had utter contempt for such people. And right now there's a whole thing going on about, well, it's whataboutery. So the right wing types are saying, oh, well, what about the Black Lives Matter thugs last week? And the Black Lives Matter thugs are saying, oh, well, what about the right wing thugs? Um, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. I don't care if you're black, white, or Asian. I don't care about the details of that. If you are attacking the police, if you're causing disorder and violence, I'm calling you a hooligan. I'm calling you a thug. Period. I'm sick and tired of these selfish people who think they can behave this way. I hope right now the police are looking at the footage. I've no doubt some of these guys will be on their database because you could be absolutely sure they're not first time offenders. It should be unacceptable. Like I say, there didn't appear to be any actual physical assaults in the video, but it should be absolutely unacceptable that people minding their own business get, bullied away by a mob of worthless cards. Because that's the thing. It's this mindset, they get a bit of booze in the system. They've got strength in numbers. Oh, with the lads, England, and then they just behave like animals. They really do behave worse than animals, in fact. I've been on public transport, and it's a very unpleasant thing, particularly when it's late at night and you're traveling on a train. Could be a short journey, it could be a long journey, and you get drunk louts come on board, just throw their weight around. Um, this is a real problem, I think, in this country. I'm not saying you don't get it elsewhere, but my whole life I've had contempt for such people. Now, I keep using the term hooliganism because I do think that the sort of behaviour we saw yesterday is very, very hooligan-esque. There is some videos purporting to show some of them making Nazi salutes. Um, I think that we need to be a little bit careful about what to put online, but certainly some of it would seem to be that way. There's other footage that seems to show the sort of typical football swagger. There was one video that showed a column of police, and these guys were just, kind of coming up, trying to confront the police with their stupid hooligan, like, come on, gestures. More of them than the police. They surged forward a bit, then the police surged forward. There was a bit of back and forth through some missiles. Um, my sympathies really lie with the police. I would have no problem whatsoever if the police went in with truncheons and beat the stupid skulls in. Because people like this, they have a mindset of we have strength in numbers, we can do what we want. They're worthless cards, okay? Absolute worthless cards. I'm not gonna lie, okay? If I was one of those people in that picnic group, I'd be getting up and leaving, okay? I'm not a fool. Um, you know, say you're a guy, you're with your girlfriend, you'd want to protect her, right? So the only thing you could really do is just get up and leave. You couldn't try to confront a mob. You could be the bravest guy in the world, you could be physically strong, But people like this, they work in numbers. They are cards. They're absolute cards. They're very weak individuals. Okay, they have a very weak form of self-control. They're very, very weak people. And they need to be told that they're weak. I would like to see them totally broken down. I'm not talking physically. I'm talking emotionally. I mean that because I think only by sort of shock treatment to people like this change. I really do believe that because every time they have booze in their hand, every time they're with their mates, they will behave this way. So I really do think I mentioned scared straight recently about young offenders. Let me extend that to guys like this. Absolutely, they need to be scared straight, put in individual cells, okay, not with their buddies, and really given something that will terrify them. Not talking about torture, not talking about physical abuse, but really, I think they're the scum of the earth. I really do. And it doesn't matter if they are far right neo-nationalist types or Black Lives Matter renegades, on the fringe, because I don't think we can't say all of Black Lives Matter behave that way. They certainly don't. Um, Incidentally, there's mixed reports coming from yesterday. There were veterans and others who went genuinely to protect the monuments, although a lot of them were covered up anyway. And there are some reports suggesting that they were also disgusted by the behaviour of the louts. But they need to, if that's the case, they need to be vocally saying that. They can't just blame the media. They need to be vocally saying it or on Facebook, right? If they don't trust the media to give them fair coverage, if you were involved in that event yesterday, right, and you weren't causing violence, you weren't throwing things at the police, um, then you need to be getting to social media and saying, I was there yesterday, I condemn the louts. You need to be saying that unequivocally. And yes, I know there was one footage of one of the white demonstrators who was attacked by BLM thugs. I mean, it looked pretty serious. He was slashed on the throat. What we are seeing here is a rise in thuggery on both sides, quite frankly. Neither side's innocent, but with the neo-nationalist types, there is a football hooligan-esque element to that in the sort of chants that they're coming out with, in the sort of behavior. With the other side, there is violence, and it's equally wrong. It's there's less connotation there to the football hooligan-like behavior, but it's equally wrong. You know, I really, really think the police should be giving a lot of resources right now, a lot of support. Um, and just no one should make excuses for this. These guys aren't patriots. How is bullying women in a park an act of patriotism? I think probably what happened was they went down to London. They realised a lot of the statues were covered up anyway. They realised they couldn't directly confront Black Lives Matter, so they just got bored. So they started drinking, making an ass out of themselves. But it's no excuse. These are grown men, and they're behaving like animals. So I really, really hope a good number of them are arrested. Um, that footage is fairly clear, and no doubt they will be on it. It really angers me seeing stuff like that because what can you do if you're an individual or you're in a small group? You can't fight a mob. You can't. If you tried to, they'd probably leave you in hospital because they are. It's a pack mentality. It's a very scary thing when you have that sort of mentality of strength in numbers. Just And you can see this all over the world in different contexts, but in Britain, it's often in the context of football hooligan-like behaviour. Um, I think football hooligans are the scum of the earth. Some of them are racist. They're not all racist, but their behaviour is disgusting because it's civilized people shouldn't have to put up with it. You like fighting? Okay, join a boxing gym, join the army, even. But this sort of I really just have a contempt for such people. And I really, really do hope some of them are arrested. Um, The thing is, I mentioned like I've been on trains and put up with them. It's not that they abuse me personally, but it gives you time to think about it when you hear them mouthing off and just throwing their weight around. Gives you a bit of an insight into the way these people think and the way they behave. It's when you see people who lose all their inhibitions like that, it's quite scary actually. Lose one of the troublemakers yesterday, Geordie, completely boozed out of his mind, didn't know what he was talking about, mouthing off to the reporter, about the IQ of a sponge. That's another thing, they're incredibly thick. Very few of them have much intelligence. They, most of them, seem to have very low intelligence, but that's not cause to sympathize with them. This is not from, you know, um, lack of opportunity. It's because they choose to be ignorant. No excuses should be made for them. I hate them, quite frankly, because I can imagine the situation of those people in the park. And that wasn't even a racial thing. The people in the park were white. They were white. But I can imagine that if I'm with a girlfriend, I'm single now, but I remember um my last girlfriend, if we were in a park or something, minding our own business, no one should have to put up with that. I really, really hope they have zero self-confidence. I'd like to see them broken down. I really would, because I know people might say, "Oh, that's cruel, Nathan." But I don't think you can compromise with thuggery. I really don't. I really don't think the leniency works with guys like this. Apparently, there's a proposal being suggested that desecration of war memorials will get you 10 years in jail. I support punishment for that. I think 10 years is a bit excessive. On par with murderers and rapists, I think there should be a punishment, but I think that's excessive. But I would like to see, since, this is a little bit like the England riots in 2011, insofar as the government will be under pressure to be seen as tough, rightly so. But Johnson's choice of words, talk about racist thuggery. He needs to be careful not to appear biased. I think the focus just needs to be on thuggery. There is racism there, but there is thuggery on the other side as well. And the Prime Minister needs to be absolutely behind the police. And I think the public need to be behind the police. A big, big factor of this is heavy criticism of the police, but I honestly think there is a big difference between British officers and American officers. I do think America has a problem with police brutality. I think Britain has had those problems, but I think for the most part, British police are very restrained. I mean, when you had this mob charging at them, I honestly think in America they would have been shot or tasered or something. I don't think that sort of situation would have happened in the same way that it did. Um, Maybe I'm wrong, but certainly not as often as it does. I think one issue is definitely police numbers. What's been obvious about this unrest is that the police have been heavily outnumbered by the troublemakers. You might get a column of 100 police, you'll have about 300 protesters or more. Um, I appreciate you could probably never align it exactly, but I do think police numbers is an issue, especially in the Metropolitan Police, where all these big events happen in London. But everyone needs to be standing behind the police 100% because they're the people in the front line having to deal with this crap. You know, whether it be Sadiq Khan, Boris Johnson, Priti Patel, Keir Starmer. I'm not saying they're not backing the police, but they need to absolutely. Um, and the public need to as well. They need to be understanding. So when people demand, when they shout about police brutality, that there's valid issues there, but they also need to remember what the police put up with. I mean, this week they've had shit from both sides. Um, you would need very, very tough skin to be a Metropolitan Police officer. I have a lot of respect for them for the most part. I really do. That's not to say they always get it right. It's not to say they're above criticism. It's not to say that there aren't corrupt officers, but they do face this sort of stuff all the time. And, it would take a very, very disciplined person to put up with what they have to put up with. I'm not sure I could do it, to be quite honest. Um, but really, I think this mob mentality, I think the only way to stop it is by isolating them because they get strength from numbers. What really needs to happen in a situation like that? Obviously, court proceedings are different now with the lockdown. They need to be tried individually. They need to be told to their face that they are a card. It's not good enough, when people like disappear before a court of law, judges kind of speak in very passive terms like you, Mister, were found causing trouble. I hereby sentence you to. We need judges to actually, just strip away the niceties and tell them what they are. If I was a judge, I'd be fair, I'd, go through all the due process, all the evidence. But I would say when I'm sentencing the scumbag, I would say, you are a card. Your behavior was cardly. Are you proud of yourself? And I would really get under the skin. I really would. Because I think these people don't change unless you get to the core of their thinking. Punishment's important, but you need to actually break them down. I really believe that because only by breaking them down emotionally will they really look at themselves. It's the only way. I thoroughly believe that. So when you get a pack of, people might think going on about this, but when you get a pack of animals going around the park, pushing the way around, um, civilized people shouldn't have to put up with that, in my opinion. Police need to be identifying them, making arrests. No doubt a lot of these guys will have police records, so it shouldn't be too hard to find them. I understand the guy that's was urinating beside PC Palmer's memorial has been arrested. No doubt he'll plead. He didn't know what he was doing. He was drunk out of his mind. Alcohol shouldn't be an excuse. If you get boozed up and go to a protest, you're asking for trouble. Especially if you go to cause, you go to get into fights and so on. Anyway, I'll round this up, but I feel very strongly about it because I've seen what the most British people probably have. I think we just need much tougher consequences for hooligans.